America's workforce. Its strength is our nation's success. Join I Build America podcast as we explore innovative solutions and inspiring stories from leaders and workers shaping America. Discover actionable insights to build a motivated workforce.
I Build America.
Hello, my name is Lorraine Lane. I'm with I Build America podcast, where we highlight the organizations, people, and places that are supporting workforce development and moving our country forward. Today, I have the distinct honor of interviewing Mr. Walter Simmons. He is the Secretary of Social and Economic Mobility in the beautiful state of Maryland. Welcome, Mr. Simmons. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
No problem. You mind if I call you Walter?
You got it.
All right, let's do this. So tell me about the Office of Social and Minority Business. What is that about?
So the Department of Social and Economic Mobility, we have three programmatic offices and one of the governor's units. So we have the Office of Small Minority and Women Business Affairs,
Oh, nice.
the Office of Minority Business Enterprises, the Office of Social Equity, and then the Minority Business Enterprise Ombudsman Unit. And so our Office of Minority Business Enterprises, they certify four of our biggest socioeconomic business certification programs.
Really? So I heard you say part of the governor's program. So this is an appointed position?
Yeah. So I was appointed by Governor Moore in October of 2025. In February, I was blessed and honored to receive confirmation from the Maryland Senate. And actually recently I took my oath of office.
Wow.
So this is the Department of Social and Economic Mobility, DOSM, because I know it's a mouthful, but the Department of Social and Economic Mobility is the first cabinet level agency in America first focused on social equity and economic mobility. And so it was birthed from a bill from Speaker Emerita Adrian Jones in 2025. The governor, our Senate president, dynamic leadership in Maryland, worked together and integrated all of the offices that do socioeconomic business certification. And so one of those was the governor's office of Small Minority and Women Business Affairs. And so it's truly a blessing and an honor to take something that was the governor's vision, a vision of our Speaker Emerita Adrian Jones and our Senate president, and they gave me the honor of leading it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting you saying that Maryland was the first, because in my research, I couldn't find it anywhere else. And I was trying to get an understanding of what does the office actually do. So what was your career path? How did you get here? I know some other things about you that you've done in your past, and we'll talk about that. But what was your career path for our listeners?
So this is a full circle moment. I was a college athlete, wanted to play football, was blessed to have a football scholarship, and I wanted to do law enforcement. I was really looking at the military, federal law enforcement, but as life had me going to Newberry College in South Carolina, big ups to Newberry College in South Carolina, but I got a chance in college to just experience life and see different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that while I was pursuing criminal justice, that once people touched the criminal justice system, it was actually too late. The trauma had begun.
Yeah.
And so that started me on a lifelong journey to figure out how to help people be successful. And we really saw in our research and a lot of people that do criminal justice is that the poverty and low income is synonymous, unfortunately, with the criminal justice system. And in America, there's a big topic on criminalizing poverty.
Absolutely.
And so my entire journey has been focused on how do I prevent people from being impoverished? And the number one tool for economic mobility in that American dream is what?
Work.
Work. It's a job, a livable wage job.
It's funny you said, because I've never heard it put that way, that in criminal justice, by the time you're trying to impact, the trauma has already happened.
Yeah.
So you came into this with a preventative measure in mind. And
a solutions-based approach. I tell people
absolutely.
There's two types of people in this world. People that have a success mindset and people that have a failure mindset. You take those same people, you put them in the same exact situation. The successful mindset person is going to tell you of a time when they took advantage of an opportunity.
Right.
The failure is going to tell you of a time. That failure mindset, they're going to tell you of a time when something happened
to
them.
them.
Workforce development was as my opportunity as not in like entitlement programs to say, hey, for anybody that wants to achieve that American dream, I can be that dynamic change factor in their life, because life isn't fair and everything isn't equitable. But for those that are trying to overcome that barrier, Workforce development is the tool to have that American dream, that American success.
I agree with you. For me, I work in the Job Corps industry, and I've been doing it for over 25 years. And the one thing...
Hold on, let's congratulate that. Multiple decades of service to young people.
Yes.
So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, the thing that I know about Job Corps and I know about workforce is that it can change the trajectory of a person's life. With the many training programs that we have in both entities, you know, they are a paired group. Whether you're talking about workforce or you're talking about Job Corps, it really is about young people attaching themselves to a belief, attaching themselves to success. So how do you, I mentioned the word success. How do you define a successful minority business?
Oh, well, you know, a successful minority business is the same thing as any successful individual. We're focusing on economic mobility, and you have three phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have economic instability, which means you don't have enough money to pay your bills. You don't have the money to make payroll, pay the lights in your business.
Right.
Economic stability, which means you have enough and you might have $1 left over. Because we know as entrepreneurs, the business is the last person to get paid.
Absolutely.
And then economic prosperity means that you're gaining and sustaining assets. Mm-hmm. If you're a resident, that's, you know, purchasing a car, buying a home, getting your first apartment. If it's a business owner, that means you're continuously making payroll, and you can actually start thinking about growing and expanding your business. And so we want to see all businesses thrive in Maryland. The Governor Moore, we need revenue. Every government needs revenue, but we don't want to raise taxes. And with 90+% of small businesses in Maryland being small, we believe that we can grow our tax base by ensuring that our local small minority disadvantaged businesses are successful and thriving.
That's important. A little transparent moment. I'm a business owner in Atlanta. I own a restaurant in Atlanta, and I will tell people, or co-owner, I should say, I will tell people all the time, you know, hospitality is one of the hardest businesses in the world to get into. But as a business owner, sometimes the dream comes before the homework that needs to be put in place in order to make that business sustainable. A lot of time when I listen to our young people and you say, well, what do you want to do? I want to own my business. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important that, although that is a wonderful dream to have, and sometimes it's very lofty, I think it's important that we help put the pieces in place so that that business is successful. What are some of the things that your office is doing for those women-owned businesses, minority businesses, to make sure that once you file the LLC, yeah, you got the business, but how do you sustain that business?
You know, it's funny you say that. My mother, you know, who used to be the national director of Job Corps.
Yes, I do.
She was speaking at a center one time, and I was also speaking across the country. She said, you know, I was younger than her, right? She said, as a younger person, and I was like, well, I'm not that young, Ma. But you know, your parents always use a little thing, but you never grow up.
Baby, no, not at all.
She said, what was one thing you would say to a lot of young people that want to be entrepreneurs? I founded Employ Prince George's in 2018.
Yes.
Grew it into a $30 million annual budget, 150-person organization. And the one thing I always tell people is, the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately.
That's some words right there. Say that again.
The dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. And so, speaking of the hustle, right? My job as the Secretary of Maryland Department of Social and Economic Mobility, all three of the offices that I listed, the Office of Small Minority and Women Business Affairs, the Office of Minority Business Enterprises, the Office of Social Equity, we make up of all of the socio-economic business certification programs in the state of Maryland. We want to ensure, it's a lot. And you know what's even greater than that?
What?
Is that every year in Maryland, $100 billion with a B. $100 billion in state commerce through contracts happens. And so what our job is for all Maryland small minority and disadvantaged businesses through our 8 socioeconomic programs, we want to make it an equitable landscape for Maryland small business to compete and get access to $100 billion in annual commerce. And so I am unapologetically rooting and working, advocating for Maryland small business.
So you must be reading my notes, because one of my questions that I have for you is, how do we make sure that small business have access to that procurement field? Because if you don't know that it's there and you don't have the support to navigate through the process of RFPs and requests for proposals and what all that means and what you need to have, it seems daunting. The task seems large.
Yeah.
So how do you bridge that gap? How do you educate? How do you provide that training?
Well, like as I said, I'm blessed and honored, right? A great state of Maryland, Governor Moore, our leadership and executive and our legislative branch, they already set the infrastructure. We're the first, cabinet level agency in the state focused on structured economic mobility. And so the system is really building an economic mobility ecosystem that's rooted with a local approach to ensure that every business that is eligible, and this is big, just because you're eligible doesn't mean you're suitable.
Right.
You start a business, you're small, you get that LLC, you're a minority, you're a veteran, you can get into the program. That doesn't mean you can get a contract.
Right.
So we have to build this network across 24 jurisdictions in Maryland with its financing, business planning, insurance, equipment, whatever you need. We're working with our local partners to do that. Then we're making sure that their business knows about the $100 billion in opportunities. We're letting them know the resources available. And we do a macro to micro approach where we open the door to the entire state procurement system through one level event.
Okay.
But we have 5 levels. By the time we get to level 1, which is the ground, we're doing individual events with small sets of businesses to let them know what's available, how can they participate, the difference between eligibility and suitability, and connecting them to local resources like workforce development organizations like Job Corps, our American Job Centers. Because 2 things that I learned in economic development, businesses all need 2 things, and you know this as well.
All right.
People and capital.
Most important too.
There you go.
So Maryland started with the understanding that this system had to be built with the goal in mind to not just have it out there, but provide the assistance that small businesses needed. So I like that you said you have 5 levels. Level 1, you're open it. The opportunity is there. The opportunity is there in Maryland, but people have to be willing. You said earlier, the hustle is what costs. And so when small businesses take that opportunity to do that, it is an amazing thing when you grow in that way. So how did you transition from PG County workforce into state agency? What was that? I mean, because you were doing you're still doing some amazing things. Don't get me wrong. But I recall speaking to some colleagues that we both know that Walter Simmons was opening some doors in PG County with workforce development. So how did that transition?
Yeah, there's nothing better than gorgeous Prince George's County.
Oh.
Let me say that. The only one opportunity better than working and living in gorgeous Prince George's is being able to serve the entire state.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, this was a full circle moment. I've had dynamic, amazing leaders my entire life. And so I left South Carolina, got a job working in the Bowser administration in DC government.
Okay.
But I got that job because I had the ability and the greatest honor in my professional journey, one of the greatest, is attending the 2014 White House Summit for Working Families with the Barack Obama, our president.
Well, man, I bet that was
amazing. But it opened my eyes. And coming from rural South Carolina, working in Monk's Corner, helping. But I was working in prosperity centers through my local United Way, managing these economic mobility centers.
It's amazing how these pathways.
It's intersected, right?
Yep.
And I always tell people, I tell people in workforce development, life is written in pencil, not pen. Anytime you want to switch it up, just turn it over and
erase it and keep going. That's the beautiful thing about it.
And that's the thing. So Mayor Bowser changed my trajectory from South Carolina to DC. And then going across to Maryland, working with County Executive Baker, I moved it to Prince George's County, Maryland. But it was always rooted, and I got to DC, got to the DMV by doing economic mobility work. So about 10 years after coming to the DMV, only reason I got to the DMV is because I was doing economic mobility work. The governor's office reached out to me and said, hey, we got a position. We're building this agency to do economic mobility for the entire state. And I said,
it was like your name was written on it.
I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for economic mobility work. I wouldn't even be in this region. And so 10 years later, to now be the first secretary of a state agency leading economic mobility, it's a full circle moment. So that's what happened. And really, I would say this. Life is tough. We're in a difficult moment for workforce development, for business. The one thing I always tell people, if you see me make a post, you'll see hashtag keep pushing.
I did.
And so one of the greatest things that has happened to me is I started believing that we can make our dreams a reality, and just doing that every single day, like I know you do. That's how this opportunity came.
And I'm glad you took advantage of it. What I'm really glad about it is that you positioned yourself for the opportunity. I tell the youth that I serve, and I say serve because it is definitely for me a servant leadership model. Be ready for the opportunity because it's going to come. You just have to be prepared and put the work in.
Hold on, I got one for you.
Oh, tell me, because
I know you. I know you touch a lot of people, so I want to give you this. You know what I tell people? You can never be ready, but you can always be prepared.
Absolutely.
And I live by something my father told me as an entrepreneur. You need to know what you don't know when you don't know you need to know. You need to know what you don't know when you don't know you need to know it. And what that means is you just to always be pushing forward and really think about where do you want to be 3 years, 5 years. I tell all my young people, everybody, the first day you get the job, you know what you start doing?
Thinking about the next.
Counting down.
That's right.
Moving to your next move. And so always putting your best foot forward. So you need to know what you don't know. When you don't know, you need to know. And you can use that. You know why? Because in workforce development, R&D does not stand for research and development. You know what it stands for?
What does it stand for? Give it.
Rip off and duplicate. Because we're serving people. We're not keeping any secrets when we're serving others.
No.
So if there's something that we can share that I want to take from you, because you're amazing, and there's something that I can share that you can take from me,
please.
like that's what we need to do.
Absolutely.
It's exactly what
we shouldn't operate in silos.
Because we're doing it for service.
That's right. It is servant leadership. So I'd like for you to tell our listeners about a public-private partnership that you improved or helped build.
We're building our entire economic mobility system on public-private partnerships.
What does that mean for my listeners?
And what it means is we're using the School of Social Innovation Review from Stanford, a collective impact model that they really spearheaded in the early 2010s. And we're building a foundation of ground up, local level groups. So we're putting together government. We're then moving into economic development and workforce development, chambers of commerce, our businesses, trade associations, finance institutions, and institutions of higher education. Those 6 partners are public-private partnership at the grandiose level, at the local level, across all 23 counties in Maryland and Baltimore City, so the 24 jurisdictions. We're partnering with those 6 entities and every single jurisdiction to do a state-structured economic mobility system where a business, a resident or a community member or community leader can walk into an area, get everything they need focused on economic mobility, regardless if it's a nonprofit, a government agency,
one-stop shop,
a private sector. And so either if it's a business looking for help or for somebody that can receive help through a local business, this is the entire structure of Maryland's economic mobility system. It's all built on public-private partnerships. And even at the greatest level, the governor and our amazing state leadership has made our capital projects for our local school systems. There are MBE goals for all of those capital projects, and many of our transportation and our school construction projects, we are piloting multiple P3 public-private partnership efforts, billions of dollars of revenue and capital construction throughout Maryland that have MBE goals, that have veteran-owned small business goals, a number of resources. So our entire system is built on public-private partnerships, and what we're doing is just growing it. Because the governor and I talked a couple weeks ago, and there's no point in having opportunity if people don't know about it.
Absolutely. And what I hear from you and what you're telling me about your office is for those minority businesses, those women-owned businesses, those small business leaders,
and our veterans.
You're absolutely right. And our veterans, that there's an opportunity there. And they don't have to go all over the place to find it. There's one area out of Walter Simmons' office that will provide them with the guidance and the leadership that they need in order to be successful. They got to do the hustle.
You got it. And I got one edit. Governor Westmore, Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller, 2 amazing leaders. It's their office, the Department of Social and Economic Mobility. They just gave me the amazing honor to lead it. And they have streamlined it. We have 8 socioeconomic business certifications that help provide access to those businesses, small, minority, women-owned, disabled-owned businesses. We have 8 different programs to give equitable access to over $100 billion in annual state commerce.
That's a beautiful thing, what Maryland is doing. So I want to turn it around a little bit. This is now rapid fun questions.
Let's get it.
I'm ready for you. So what is one song on your playlist right now that if I was around you, I was going to hear it?
Ooh, one song you're going to hear. Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a Drake fan. Iceman album just dropped.
He just dropped 3 albums.
Exactly.
7 songs.
Yeah, so I got Drake on in heavy rotation.
Wow.
But outside of that, I'm also gonna listen to the Pace Sisters, the Anointed Pace Sisters. Everybody in my office knows you gonna Durandis. You gonna be hearing it, right? Every morning I wake up. The first hour of my day, I'm listening to gospel music, and the Pace Sisters,
They set the tone for you.
Set the tone every morning.
All right, coffee or tea?
Depends on the moment.
Okay.
I'm not monolithic. Sometimes I'm in a tea mood. I might give it a little bit. But
a man of diversity, I have to appreciate that.
But I'm gonna tell you what though. On any given day, you get me a vanilla sweet cream cold brew from Starbucks, a venti, and I'm in.
I'm gonna have to make sure you get that before I leave.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have had the opportunity to listen to Walter Simmons, the director of, and I want to make sure I get this right, the Secretary of Social and Economic Mobility out of the state of Maryland. I really appreciate talking to you. This was wonderful.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here. It's an honor to be with you, a fellow servant. I appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you.
Your host is an amazing leader, multiple decades in workforce development. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the I Build America podcast. Please subscribe, share, and comment, and be sure to join us next time for more insights and inspiring conversations on building a powerful American workforce. I Build America, building workforce success one podcast at a time.